Hello, my name is Michael Bush. Today I'm going to be showing you and telling you how to shoot and operate a bow. How many of you guys have ever been out hunting, whether it's with a bow, whether it's with a gun? How many of you have done it? I have been growing up my whole life doing it. I've been around hunting with my dad and my grandpa and my uncle and my pa. We've been hunting my whole life. I've been hunting and out in the woods since I was about 10 years old. Recently, I picked up bow hunting for animals, mainly deer. The past 3 years I've been doing that. Have not been successful yet, but I keep trying. But today I'm going to be explaining to you a little bit of background on bow hunting and what it used to be like. I'm going to be showing you the essentials and what you are needed and what are need to use and operate the bow safely. And then finally, I'm going to be explaining to you how to shoot the bow safely and correctly. First off, I'm going to talk about some background on bow hunting. Bow hunting was a very common way to get food back in the old days before grocery stores were a big thing, back when it was just small groups of people living on their own. Bow and arrow was the most traditional way to hunt and kill animals. It was used back then by a stick being bent with a string, and they would shave another twig into a sharp point at the end, and you're able to shoot it at animals and aim it at whatever you needed to. Deer license were first required back in 1895, and they only costed about 50 cents. Before 1895, you weren't required to have a license in order to kill an animal. You could just go out in the woods, walk out one day, and just shoot whatever you saw. So that changed in 1895. It was about 50 cents. Back then, it was about 3 cents for a loaf of bread. So that puts in perspective of how much it was costing. In addition, archery season was mainly opened in 1937, meaning that there really was no season. You just had to have a license in order to kill an animal. So in 1937, they decided to make a time frame at which you could kill animals to keep the population and everything up and steady. Next off, I'm going to be showing you the essentials that you need in order to hunt for animals. So there are multiple different things that are needed. First of all, I'll show you the arrows that are needed. These are arrows that will clip into your bow and arrow. It has what's called a nock at the end that snaps right into the string of your arrow. And there are multiple different arrow heads, which are these, what are used to penetrate and go through animals. There are those field tips, and there are also these practice tips. The practice tips are made to penetrate whatever it is and pull right back out. So if you needed to practice by shooting at a target or something like that, that's a perfect way to do it. The field tips, the one that you actually hunt with, are designed to be really sharp and to cut through whatever is needed to cut through. So that's why you mainly use those when you're actually shooting an animal. Next off, I'll show you your quiver. So the quiver is what is needed to hold all your arrows. Your quiver is designed to snap into your bow and stay attached to your bow. My quiver can hold up to 5 arrows at a time. It doesn't matter how big they are or like what they're used for, but it can hold 5 different arrows, as you can see. And I'm missing one. So for this, you would just slide it in and then pop it right in place, and it is staying there and it won't go anywhere. Next thing I'm going to show you is your release. Later when I show you the bow, you'll see what I'm talking about with the release, but I'll still explain to you. So your release is like, it attaches to your hand. It buckles right on your hand. It tightens it to however tight you want it, and it has a little hook on it. This hook is designed to stay in place until you hit your trigger. You use your pointer finger usually to release your trigger. But as you can see, the hook can't go anywhere unless the trigger is hit. So I'm pushing on and everything right now, and as soon as I hit this trigger, it goes. So that is the trigger. Next thing you'll need is a bow. So there are many different types of bows, and their bows are traditional bows, there's recurve bows, there's crossbows, but today I'm going to be showing you the traditional bow. So like I said, this hook goes in this little D-loop. This loop is designed to be really strong and hold back your bow, and up here you have a little eyelet that you peek through to see your sight. My sight has 3 different distances. It goes 20 yards, 30 yards, and 40 yards. But other bows are different. Some bows can shoot really far. And as you can see right here is where my quiver will attach to my bow and stay there. It'll attach there, it'll stay on, it won't fall off. So that is your bow. Next thing we'll be telling you is how you actually safely operate and shoot your bow. Now I'm not actually going to shoot my bow because I do not have a target, but I can still show how you shoot the bow. So first thing, you got to get your bow and arrow. Next you'll have your arrow, which the nock is going to go right in place, right about here. I don't know if it really matters, but I always put the color that's not matching the other ones, I always face that down. You clip it in, it'll stay in there, and then you just lock it in right there, and it'll stay until you shoot your arrow. Next thing you want to do is you want to attach this little hook to that loop, as I said earlier, and it's going to stay on there. But you want to keep your pointer finger, I keep it behind the trigger so I don't accidentally pull the trigger forward and it releases and shoots on accident. So you keep your finger off the trigger, and all you're going to do, all there is to do, is you want to keep your shoulder at about eye level, and you're just going to extend this left arm as far as you can, and you just pull all the way back. Now these bows can pull back to, mine's at about 65 pounds right now, but notice I'm inside right now, but my finger is staying off the trigger, so I'm not going to have an accident. But once you're all ready to shoot, you're going to line up your eye, close one eye, you're going to line right through this little eye loop like I said, and you're going to aim right through your sight. You want to make sure you're nice and balanced, steady and still, and as soon as you want to shoot, you want to take a deep breath and hold it at the exhale. And as soon as you shoot, so I'm pretend like I shoot, boom. As soon as you shoot, you're going to want to hold it and then follow it down like this and follow down, just so you're not shooting it and going everywhere, so you don't accidentally move your arrow or screw something up. So you make sure you want to release the trigger, and that is how you safely shoot a bow. So thank you today for listening to me as I explained the background of hunting and what the essentials are needed and how you actually shoot your bow safely.